the reading for Cancer. These readings are for guidance for couples intuitively, just trying to spell out what may be going on internally to help you understand more compassionately what your partner may be up to or not up to spiritually, but not maybe able to verbalize. So hopefully this gives some insights into couples and what may be going on interiorly. Sometimes we have situations where we just can't discuss it because we know our soul is going through something, but we just don't know what it is. So this is kind of my contribution to helping couples relate in that way. So I will start with the female Cancers. So the first card I draw 3 cards to kind of figure out what the character is, and then we go into the love and sex side. So the 3 character cards, the first card for the female Cancers is 6 Lovers. So we get a situation where for the vast majority we have a union that is somewhat like different decks depict different meanings for the cards the way I view them. And this one here is like there's a union here that is blessed from above type thing. It is really looked down upon, and I mean that not derogatory way, but in a way that it is looked down upon favorably, in a good way, that this is a good thing. So there is a union happening here that is favorable, and it may even be fateful to a degree where things are united. And I mean, the next card we get is the Devil. So that's interesting. So we may have a situation within the relationship where there is some clinging to some kind of, I feel like this has to do with issues. It may be between the couples. You know, they may be at a a stage where they are both learning from each other, and the issues may be circulating. We may have a situation where we have a pair here where they are new to each other, but nonetheless their issues are not so new, are coming back. So the Devil is really a symbol of things that we feel we cannot unlock ourselves from, but yet there's always a way. And then the end result card is the 2 of Cups. So that's really interesting because it really amps up the Lovers card, and it kind of takes away from any of the distraction. I feel like the love is higher and more strong than there may be the negative side of things. So I feel like there may be some negative things coming through their system, but it can be overcome because there's a lot of love here. And not only love, but a soulmate, possibly connection. So that's good. So as we go into the love sector, we get slow down, which is Cancer females are notably got to be keeping this on their mind because this is what is going to help them out. So it says, when you are excited, you get ahead of yourself, take time to allow things to unfold. So be aware that you need to slow things down. You may be excited and maybe feeling so deeply these things within the relationship that you need to kind of take a checkpoint and slow things down a bit. You may be advancing too far for the relationship to actually go. Demonstrate love. Find out what is important to the people you love and act on it. I feel like this has to do with communication. I feel like you have to voice to your partner, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do I want? This is what I want. You know, kind of giving and taking. But also, I mean, the card is about demonstrating love, so you need to do that. The next card I get for the love side is ask for help. What is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself the support you need. And this is directly underneath the Devil card. So there's something that's out of whack, something that I feel maybe just coming into the radar here. But you need to slow down in order to see it. I think that things are really going swimmingly on the surface here, but we may have some issues with showing and receiving, giving and receiving the love. So we might have to look into that a little more. So on the love side of things, just demonstrate the love that you want, and then it will come back to you, and I feel like that's in the relationship itself. So that's good. On the sex side, the first card we get is the Three of Cups, so that's indulging, being in the moment with the sexual side of, the physical side of things, indulging, feeling, getting all of the pleasures from the body. It's all good. The next card I get is the World card. So that's interesting because in a sexual kind of way, the World card will symbolize some kind of closure. And usually this will have to do with the issues. So I feel like there's high issues here having to do with the physical side of sex. Now, the last card is Justice. So there's, interesting. There is a lack, I feel, of communication on the female side of things. I'm not too sure. I'm feeling like this relationship is being very well mirrored. So there may be a tendency for both partners not to really communicate completely how they feel. What's turning them off, what's turning them on. Both these things should be delved into. And I feel like there's a justice and the balance is really, that I feel like your partner is really mirroring. I feel like that's the balance. You and your partner both have somewhat of the same types of issues, and so you're somewhat backing away from. So I feel like that's the judgment from above, or not the judgment, but the look down from above. It's like, you know, you guys, you're both dealing with the same thing, so you got to come clean here. And then the sword in her hand really symbolizing that the communication needs to happen in order to keep the balance. Because we're at a fine place here, I think, in the relationship where everything is balanced, but we're starting to recognize this things that are out of whack, that can be out of whack. And I think the longer you hold it in, the more it will come about that way, meaning the more that the communication is lost. If there's communication lost here about things that please and displease, and I feel like this is more of a physical area. I think the love area is okay. We need to be honest and pure in that area as well. But I feel like the physical side of things, we're at a point here where, you know, some of these relationships, and I'm saying they could be in a honeymoon stage, they could be just in a stage where we're having a high and we're coming down to the low part, right? Because everything has its ebbs and flows. So whether you're in a relationship or in a dating scenario, this is what is going on here. I feel like we're coming on the crest of the good stuff, and we just need to be honest and true to the partner at this point, because I feel like you've got a balanced partner and your partner is going through the same things that you are. So you need to be open and honest, because it will help them as well as you, and hopefully there'll be good reception for that. Now, so the physical side of things, absolutely indulging and feeling the greatness and the capacity that you hold within that. But there's a balance here that is struck so far. But I feel like unless we are truthful, honest, and open about what it is that we're feeling off, because I'm feeling like the female is starting to sense things. There's a cycle here for her. She's starting to sense things being off. There's things that I don't like, I don't want. So you got to communicate that to your partner and you'll be fine. Now, for those being in a relationship with the Cancer female, I'm feeling like you need to be that mirror. You need to do the exact same thing, the exact same advice. Now, you need to be open and honest. You need to be upfront with things that please and don't please you. I think that they have an uncanny way of getting those things met, and absolutely can be a good thing, where I think more for the partner feeling trepidation is to explain that or express that to the partner. And I think don't just go over it. They will accept it and put it where it needs to be and implement it when it needs to be implemented. So it's interesting. A very good, solid, almost like a karmic cycle coming here, but yet there's some irritations at the side. Now, as long as we slow down, demonstrate the love that we are feeling and not hold that back, I think that may be the key here. There's a sense of I shouldn't be expressing myself the way that I am, but there's like a no, you need to demonstrate that. You need to show that forward, and don't worry about being you know, I think there's a wave hitting these women. It's like I shouldn't give because I get, and I think they need to push through that. So, and then ask for help from whoever you need it from. And I feel like the help might be more in the direction of how to, and I think that's just semantics. I think I think really when you come right down to it and you just spill the beans about whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with, it's not a deal breaker. It's just things that you want to be accommodated, and they have every right to do that, and skill to do that as well. The partner does. So the Cancer female just needs to relax on that. Again, I can't even really go too deep into the sex side. It's all good and gravy. They're feeling it and absorbing it. But beware of any of those mental things that come in your head going, I don't like this, I don't like that, and express them to your partner, and there'll be no problems. So that's the female side of things. Cancer, males. First card we get, interestingly enough, is Justice. So there's a balancing act here that needs to be paid attention to. The next card, the Empress. So the Empress is that mother. She's holding, you know, like several spheres, a couple spheres. She's got one around her neck with the woman, the symbol of a woman, you know, the ultimate goddess, right? And I get like a slow sense of being here from this card. The Empress is usually the mother, right? The ball can symbolize that new energy coming forth, whether it's in a birth, a pregnancy, or whatever, mother type energy. But also I get a slow sense here of something building. Now I'm going to go to the next card. So Justice, slow build on justice. It's interesting because it's not really slow and steady. It's not really the Empress energy, but that's what I'm getting from it. And the shield that lays at her feet, it's like, you know, she's got a glow about her that really of a higher energy. Okay. The last card is Judgment. So there is something going on here that I kind of feel like I have to pull another card in order to get into these Cancers, where they're headed. So there is a sense of being watched upon or looked upon, or it's almost as if there's a woman in your life, a male figure, or sorry, a female figure that you are trying to discern or balance energies with. I have to cut and pull a card. Oh, here we go, the King of Swords. So I'm trying to interesting. This is not your element. And the King of Swords here, we have someone like, again, I feel like he's cantankerous, not happy about things, but yet there's judgment and energy going towards that person. And it needs to balance out in a way, but having to do with a woman. We'll see what goes on here. So for the singles, I feel like there's a strong motherly figure that's in energy that is prominent to you. In the love sector, we get the card, get to know each other, learning to meet. Another's need for love is important for a relationship to grow. So if you are single and going out there and meeting, of course, you have to get to know each other. Make sure that you're balanced in that. Make sure that you give as much as that other person is, you know, if that person is giving, make sure that you step up to the plate and give as well. so that it is balanced. The next card I get is romance. Lavish the one that you love with your personal attention and affection. So if you are in a position where you're, you have, it seems like there is a woman, or if not, just a, like a direction that they want to go, or someone definitely in their life that they are focused on, and really, wanting to lavish that romantic attention in that way. The last card is turn on your heart light. Allow yourself in the moment to reflect on a time when you experienced love. So there may be a sense for these Cancer males where they are really wanting to get back into the romance, wanting to dive deeper into things, and needing to allow themselves to get into that area where they're diving deeper into things. I feel like they're in that romantic mood, and I think maybe the summer has primed them for that. So they're really, I feel like they're in the string of this. I feel like they want to get into it. They feel the romance, they're turning it on. Yeah, they got it all. So in the area of feeling, cozy, I think they're doing okay. When we go into the sex side of things, we get the Knight of Pentacles. A grounded energy that has a good foundation, a good, solid, sturdy offer. So in the bedroom we're talking, this is something that slow, steady, dependable, predictable, that kind of thing. But in a good way, Nothing throws you off. Now, interesting, the next we get is the Four Swords. So that's like kind of the veering off point of control, I find. Anyway, this man is really subtly taking over her. She seems to be alright with it at this point, but they got to make sure that that is the case. The next card I get is the Hanged Man. So that's interesting, because we get a situation here where we might have a lack of indulging in the senses, or just waiting until the time is right. And I feel like it might be on the heels of maybe having some control issues go a little too far. We have some strong, sturdy energy in the bedroom, and then there's some taking over that may be leading to a little bit of a space, physical space in the bedroom. So, interesting. So for the Cancer male, I think there's definitely someone they have their sights on. I feel like their mode may be a little off the norm. And that may be part of the Four Swords as well. There may be some things that they're willing to try in the bedroom that maybe just not jiving with their partner. And if that is the case, that would dive into the get to know your partner a little more. Get to know them a little more before you start experimenting. Get to know exactly what it is that thrills them, so that it's on key with what you can erupt in the bedroom. And the romance, that's just, I think that's an undercurrent here for these males. I think they're feeling in that mode. I feel like they might actually take things in the wrong direction and turn their partner off, but it's they gotta get to know each other. They gotta get to know exactly. Instead of experimenting so much and going off on a tangent, just make sure you're grounded in what you know. And there's a grounded energy here from the past. There's a grounded energy in the bedroom. Everything was good. It was it wasn't anything out of the norm, but it was good, solid stuff. And then there's a little bit of an instance to kind of veer off the beaten path here, and then go into the Hangman, which means and it may not even you may have a good reception for the change of pace in the bedroom, but there may be a weaning off cycle due to some other thing. It may not be that it's an absolute turn off. It may just be there's time and restraints or whatever that we just gotta cool it for a while because we got other things to do, or I'm tired or whatever. Might be because of that, but it also might be because there's some changes going on and it just kind of not really feeling it, and that's more towards what I'm leaning for the masses here of the on the male Cancer side. It's just there's things going on in the bedroom that are a little bit off of what they're used to, so they're just going to take a break. They're kind of non in judgment of anything. They're just like, okay, I just maybe need some time. So the communication and getting the feedback, I think, is important. And I feel like he's the Cancer male is kind of sprung and he's wanting to go outward with it, but he's just kind of not getting his partner's influence. He's not getting their word, you know, like, how would you feel about this? What if I do this? You know, and maybe you have to communicate that a little more in order to get through in a proper manner, because it's kind of, I feel like there's a pause here. It's not totally in judgment. It's not complete shock or anything like that. It's just a little bit, okay, yeah, don't want that for a while. So they're taking a pause. And like you said, they're not going to throw the hammer down on it, but they're just needing to take a little bit of a break in the bedroom. So for the males, I feel like they're going through like maybe a hormonal phase, I don't know, over the summer, where they're feeling sprung and they want to go outward with it, and they're just really trying to find their place in that, and just to be a little more, I'm saying evolved, but in the sexual side of things, I feel more than anything, they just kind of want to veer off a little bit. They want to go off in a different direction, so they're trying to do that. They're just not really clicking in with their partner before they do. So that it's not going to cause major whatever. I think it's going to be more on his side. He's going to feel it, where she's going to be like, not, you know. So maybe an official conversation needs to happen about that in a physical sense, to kind of clear the air, and then go more in a direction that is you know, fine-tuned for that, and that will be better. So for the Cancer males, again, feeling like they're wanting to pour out that romance and the passion in the direction of their partner, and even the ones that may not be partner. If you have a single male, he's wanting to do that, and he may just be experimenting, you know, with a few things that he wants to try, and he doesn't even know himself yet if he wants to go in that direction, but he needs to see how the partner reacts, how it makes the other person feel, because I think Cancer males are very in tune to their partners, even if they don't want to admit that, they are, and they can be very accommodating in the physical and emotional kind of way, more than they realize. And so I think the cantankerousness is for the couples, the ones that are in the couples where he's just not communicating enough to get the feedback before he goes off and does stuff, and then it ends up being something that is off-putting, but not necessary. It's not, you know, it's not a big deal, but in that way. So tips for the singles would be to not judge harshly what this man gives you over the summer. If you have a single Cancer male coming at you, he's going to try a few things that are out of his box. He's going to try a few things that may not even be to his liking, but he needs to go through that to feel that and sense that and know where he stands within that. So there might be some things that are a little uncharacteristic of the Cancer male, but he kind of needs it to go through his system in order to really know where he sits in that way, physically more than emotionally. I think emotionally they'll be kind of solid, but physically in the bedroom they're going to be trying stuff out. So if you're on the single side and you're looking to a Cancer male, he's all up for anything, but don't expect those things, the majority of those things, to stay, because he'll eventually get it what it is that he wants. So there might be a mismatch there, because you might get a funked out Cancer that comes out in the single world, and he tries all this stuff, and then he realizes, yeah, it's not my thing. I have to go back to the basics, and maybe that's not your thing. Maybe the thing was exploring, and then it will kind of, you know, veer off in that way. So for the Cancer male, I would say, you know, for those looking at that, side of things, you know, beware. There's some experimentation that is going to be going on with this. And the ones that are in the solids, the ones that are in relationships, I feel like they're within the relationship, they're trying out new things that are just kind of not floating the boat. And like I said, it may not even be his thing, but he's just trying it out to see what happens. So just be patient with that. And I think the partners kind of may not expect this in their way of the way that they work. They do not work this way normally. So it might throw them a bit. So just don't be thrown. They're not having an affair, they're just trying new things out to add some spice. This is the way they want to do that. They want to try and get through to that. So don't freak out. They're just trying something different. It's harmless, and they'll get through it, and they'll figure out whether they want to keep it or not. And it would be best to communicate that most honestly to your partner so that they can absolutely take that and go with it and use that in the future. And the females, they're going through some heavy relationship stuff here. Some issues may be coming to the surface. They're really indulging in the physical side of things, but they've got to keep that balanced, because there's something that can throw them. I feel like in the future here where we haven't gone, there's things that can throw them, and I feel like it's just issues. So for the singles looking for Cancer females, I would say if you're with them, then there's a good thing going on. And if you got your eye on them, be careful. They might be in a committed relationship already. And it will be quite obvious for these Cancer females. I mean, they're not the type to sneak around. For the most part, you might get the odd one, but it will be very obvious that there's your second nature. So it won't be, you're either in it or you're not. So if you're trying to get in, forget about it. Don't even go there, because they're really in a phase where they're balancing things out. And you know, I feel like there's a good road here where they can get to a point where they're, you know, like the Ten of Cups, everything's going their way. So they just need to slow down, you know, demonstrate the love that they're feeling and communicate that outward. And that's kind of across both signs. So hopefully that helped somebody's partners in whatever way. That was the Cancer reading for the end of summer, into the fall mostly. And then, of course, I'm going to do fall readings here pretty quick, so we'll probably be diving more into that. I'm planning on getting a new deck for sexual energy that I'm going to, you know, work off of as well. So I just haven't purchased that yet, so I'm not completely flipped over. But in the meantime, hopefully that helps for the Cancer energies over the fall here. I'm going to say fall because it's mostly the fall, the end of summer and into the fall. Hopefully that helps you get some insight into your partner so that you can help them with things that they may not be voicing forward. And for the Cancer male, he's just trying on new things. And for the female, she's really enjoying things and going with the flow. But beware that the future, you just got to keep things, slow things down, and make sure you engage and show the love that you're feeling. Don't hold anything back. That's basically it. So, for Cancer for the fall, hope this helped.